Victor Wembanyama leaves the game for the Spurs in an eventual win against the 76ers, which what initially was called an arm injury, now it's a bruised rib. And that we really haven't gotten any results on an MRI for Victor Wembanyama. Other than that, he is doubtful for tomorrow's game against Portland. Left rib contusion. Here's the thing about Wemby. He's played 63 games this year. This is a guy that in the last couple of weeks has not once, but twice doubled down and said he's the MVP, that he should win the MVP over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He is definitely going to be a landslide winner for NBA Defensive Player of the Year, but there are 3 games left in the season. 3. That's it. The Spurs are 60-19. They got 3 games left. Wemby's got to play in 2 of those. He's not playing tomorrow. So unless Victor Wembanyama plays the last 2 games of the regular season, he is ineligible to be Defensive Player of the Year. He's ineligible for first team All-NBA. And I don't think he's going to get it, but he would be ineligible for the MVP. So this is some pretty damn big news here. Should the Spurs risk it and play him in the last 2 games if he's not 100% here? Like, they're only technically a game and a half out of the 1 seed because they do own the season tiebreaker for the Thunder. I mean, Oklahoma City can wrap this thing up. They're playing the Lakers, who have nobody. Luka out and definitely with the hamstring. Austin Reeves out and definitely with an oblique strain. LeBron sitting out tonight. So the Thunder are going to be basically 1 win away from wrapping up the 1 seed. But I mean, should the Spurs risk it so that they can make sure that Wemby gets these postseason awards here? I would think even if he only suits up and plays a couple of minutes, you got to play him in these last 2 games that you have at the end of this week. You have to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, they're not mathematically eliminated yet. So are you saying there's a chance? Yeah, Lloyd Christmas, there's indeed a chance. So for that reason alone, he should go out and try to play the best that he can. And you and I talked about this on our, prep call before the show today. All he's got to do is you just laid it out. Play a minute, stand in the corner, call a timeout, throw the ball out of bounds, and then you pull Wemby, and then, the run of a risk as infinitesimal as it in that moment is evaporated. It's gone, and he still qualifies for all of those award achievements that, he wants. And maybe there's some added contract incentives. They want to guarantee that because he is tour de jour and tour de force for that franchise. And Wemby's not going to win the looking at the WAR data right now that ESPN tracks, SGA is running away with it. His overall WAR is at 16.9. Number 2 on that list is Jokic at 13.1, followed by Luka at 12.9 and Kawhi at 11.6 and Wemby at overall 10.5. So based on that alone, in terms of the overall value, offense, now he is in a tier by himself defensively. Will say, okay, well, that earns my votes because the balance he has and just the enforce that he is on the defensive end. I understand. There is an argument there for him to be in the MVP conversation. He's not going to win MVP, so you don't want to risk injury with your eyes on a much bigger prize. So just play him for a minute or 2, get his ass out of the game, and call it a day, and then what you get, and you don't throw a fit, and you go out there and try to win the Larry O'Brien. That would be the smart decision for the Spurs to make. Are they going to make it? Well, ultimately, Wemby may force their hand either way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine this is that serious that we're talking about him missing more time than this. But again, you got the playoffs just over a week away. The Spurs aren't going to end up playing until Saturday when the first round begins. So they have 10 days from now or 11 days from now. But still, Spurs coach Mitch Johnson said after the game last night that he had heard nothing yet about the severity of his injury. Now they're calling it a rib contusion. But the way that they kind of talked about it, Mitch Johnson said, quote, "I know he came back and he just didn't finish. At halftime, I was told he wasn't coming back. I haven't heard anything else up to this point. I think it would be a positive that he felt like he could come back and he played the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half. So that's a positive from my perspective. He played 15 minutes. Again, here's the thing, Brad, actually, that we were just talking about it. Have him suit up and play a minute. I didn't even know this until literally just this moment. Players are granted 2 exceptions to the requirement of playing 20 minutes in a game as long as they play at least 15 minutes. So I guess you have to play at least 15 minutes in a game for it to count as a game played, which I had no idea. I'm just reading one of the articles that was written up about it last night. And it says Wembanyama played 15 minutes and 40 seconds, which will count toward eligibility for postseason awards, as players are granted 2 exceptions to the requirement of playing 20 minutes in a game as long as they play at least 15 minutes. So I don't know if you could just have him sit in the corner and take him out after a minute. He'd actually have to play not a substantial amount, but he'd have to play about a quarter and a half worth of a game. And so is that worth the risk? Again, I don't think we're having a conversation about, is Wemby going to be 100% for the playoffs? Like, again, the fact that Mitch Johnson kind of talked about he felt like he could come back if needed. I don't think we're talking about more than a game absence, but then again, he's got to play at least 15 minutes in those final 2 games of the regular season. And so then this just comes down to a different conversation here is should we be prioritizing the awards? Should the Spurs even give a damn about Wembanyama winning Defensive Player of the Year or First Team All-NBA or having even the slightest of chances to get the MVP? And should they be still trying to chase down Oklahoma City if they are mathematically alive for the 1 seed with 2 games left to play? All of that is in play here. And when it comes to the awards, I mean, Wemby has talked so emphatically. He has puffed his chest and he's talked about, I'm the MVP. I think I should be the MVP. And he's not going to suit up tomorrow. I think you're going to have a tough time keeping him off the floor for the final 2 games. Is that something where the Spurs medical staff, if they're saying like, hey, if he gets hit hard in the ribs, it could potentially risk a broken rib. I don't think we should play him. Like, how's that conversation going to go? Wemby's going to demand to play and they're going to try to sit him out and he's going to be ruled ineligible to win the awards. In a year where we've talked about Luka now with his situation, Jokic is right up against the cutoff. Anthony Edwards has missed the cutoff now. This 65-game threshold, if it gets Wemby, who so many people want to be the face of the league, are we really going to be in a situation where he doesn't play at least 15 minutes in these final 2 games? I find it very hard to believe. And if he doesn't, I mean, it's a rib contusion. I know he'd be playing through that in the playoffs. You want to win Defensive Player of the Year, exactly. I think you got to get your ass on the floor for these last 2 games.
Yeah, look, he's going to play in some form or fashion. I think that is a foregone conclusion here. It's a pain tolerance issue. He's got to gut it out. Again, there's probably money motivation, obviously trophy motivation to add to his own personal case. He's got to give it an effort. There's no question. I just think it'd be smart, and I would advise Wemby, if I was in a situation of power, to be like, yo, bro, just go out, play a minute or 2 and get your ass off the floor because we need you for the playoff stretch because we have a real shot of possibly winning the West and an NBA title once again in the great city of San Antonio.